Hello there, my friends, and it's time for afternoon tea. I thought we could have a little chat about something pretty serious, and I'm a little nervous to talk to you about it. I'm just like, ooh, I need a cup of tea. So I've actually started my little cup of tea without you. I'm so sorry. My lighting in here has just been a little bit odd, and so I did start talking to you about this, and then I was like, the lighting is weird, and so I'm gonna have to do this again. So we're sitting on my little couch in my music room here, and I've got all the books in the background, and I've got a lovely, lovely little tea prepared. This is Harney & Sons Hot Herbal Cinnamon Spice Tea, and it's a rooibos tea, so it's caffeine free, and it's amazing and delicious, and I love, 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 love this tea by Harney & Sons. You can go to Harney & Sons in New York City and have a cup of tea and a scone, like properly brewed cup of tea and a really nice scone for like $15. It's magical. Anyway, let's pour ourselves a cup of tea, and then we're gonna talk about college. So I need to top my tea up a little bit. Like I said, I started this little chat beforehand, so I'm gonna put some half and half in there, and then put this little strainer on top. And I've brewed this tea for about 7 minutes, but now it's probably been a little bit longer. I really like a nice strong cup of tea, so I put a teaspoon and a half in this little thing because I can get a few cups out of it. And then we've got the magical tea cozy to keep it nice and warm. And you can see I've taken some time to think about what I'm going to talk to you about, strangely. Kidding. And, you know, because it is a serious conversation, and college is a big deal. You know, some of my students are on their way to college, they're leaving the nest, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm so, like, just, you know, the memories. It's like, you know, they're just the baby birds flying away, the young little violins off to other things. And I'm so very proud of them. But this subject has been something I wanted to come and talk to you guys about for a little while. But just was like, oh my gosh, I won't be able to say it right. And I'll probably say something wrong, and I don't want to lead anybody astray. That's for sure. It's just something to think about, and probably you've already thought about these things. So I'm basically here to just have a cup of tea with you and talk to you about some of these things around college and going to school for music. So cheers, my dear. I hope you make a nice magical cup of tea. Not with a tea bag. You know what? I went to, like, ages ago, went to a really nice hotel, and they served their afternoon tea in a teapot with a tea bag. Like, I'm pretty sure this happened at the Ritz-Carlton, you know, like the Ritz, like they served their tea in a teapot with a tea bag. And I was just like, with a cold like cup. And it was like, I don't know, as you can see, it's very disturbing to me to be served a cup of tea from the Ritz-Carlton with a tea bag. Anyway, let's stop dilly-dallying. So I do think that you should go to school for music. I do think that you should definitely go get educated, get the highest degree that you possibly can or want in music, but don't take out massive loans to go to school. There's artists that rise to the top, and you can make a lot of money as a musician, you know, but you also might find that it's really hard to make money as a musician. It's not something that's like a really clear-cut avenue and way of living. It's kind of like, it's a little bit like this, you know? And so it's really, really unwise to take out a massive loan in really any field. I really think it's not a good idea to get yourself in a lot of debt to go to school. Go to a school that actually, unless money is not a problem, but you know, for most of us, money is something that we do need to think carefully about and be wise about, right? And think about the very long-term effect of that loan over our life, because when you graduate from school as a musician, you're not going to be handed a job. You know, you're going to have to spend time taking auditions if you want to play with an orchestra or a group or whatever it is. Or if you're in a, you know, you play in a band or a quartet or something, it's going to take time to really get out there, like possibly years to really get yourselves out there until you start making money touring or whatever it is that you're going to do. And so it's just really hard to get ahead with debt. You're always going to be having that debt to pay off. So your apartment that you get, you're going to have to, you know, maybe not live in the nicest apartment because you have to make a loan payment on your student loans, when you could have used that money to like have a nicer apartment or a house or buy a car so that you can get around. Or you know, maybe there's an emergency that comes up in your life and you need to have money that you should be saving away for yourself, that you now don't have a very big savings account because you're trying to get all of your debt paid off first. Or you know, you want to get married or something and your partner's a little bit squeamish that you're a musician and you have $200,000 of student loans. It's just a big burden to carry. And I think that you can get around it. I think you can go to school and get around going to school without having a large student loan debt. You really can. Like, as I always say to my students, if I can figure it out, like little old me can figure it out, then you can as well too. So here's some thoughts. What would be important when going to college? Is it the school name or is it the teacher, right? And of course, in a perfect world, we could all get into Juilliard or all go to the Curtis Institute of Music or all go to whatever school it is that we want to go to. When it all boils down to it, it's really not about the college. It's about you. It's about you and your skills and what you can do as a musician. Maybe you can get into Juilliard, but you can't afford to go there. Does that mean that you now need to take out massive student loans in order to go to Juilliard because there's no financial aid for you? And I think the answer to that is no, you don't need to take out massive student loans if you, let's say you got into Juilliard, but you can't afford to go there. You don't need to go there. There's actually a lot of schools that would probably pay you to go to their school. Especially if you're the kind of caliber player that even is able to get into Juilliard. The thing that I think really matters when it comes down to college is the teacher. They're going to be the ones that you're learning primarily from, is your professor and your instrument. So you, rather than looking at the school, I would seek out the teacher. Your professor, I think, is the number one consideration because they're the one that you're primarily going to be learning from, you know, about your instrument. And you know, I'm a viola performance major, so I can't really speak to music education or maybe other aspects of music, but I really do think that it all does boil down to the teacher. So it's important that your teacher's actually there, right? There's a lot of times when professors are, you know, they're at like lots and lots of different schools, right? And that's fine. But sometimes it's like you just feel like they're not really there for you. It would be great for you to find a teacher that's actually there and is invested in you and wants you to do well and helps like expose you to opportunities. You feel like you really resonate with them, you really learn from them, and they're a mentor to you. So especially in your bachelor's degree, like make sure that you go to a school where you have just a really good professor there that's invested in you. And I mentioned when I went to the University of Arizona to speak to the viola studio there this last year, I really loved the vibe that was there at the University of Arizona with Dr. Molly Gabrian. She's the viola professor there. She is such an awesome teacher. So I would definitely check out the University of Arizona if you're a violist. I didn't meet any of the other faculty there, but it just seems like they really have a really, really good program there. So with professors that are really invested in being there and happy to be there, because, you know, professors are also trying to make money as well. So maybe if you're a professor and you play in a major orchestra and you teach at all these different schools and everything, and you're like kind of scrambling just to kind of make ends meet too, and then your orchestra goes away for the entire summer, so you don't really do anything with your studio for the summer, for example. You're just really not there for your students. You're there for your professional things that you're doing and teaching something that you do on the side. So you're just not maybe as like invested in the students. As an example, I'm not saying that that's always the case. It's definitely not. But it's just that if you have a teacher that's actually there and they're invested in what they're doing and they are very passionate about what they're doing, that's just a totally different experience. And they like expose you to things. They help you to like rise and learn and become better. And like they're helping you pave the way to bigger and greater things for you. It's a totally different experience than someone who's just like kind of like in and out, and you're just kind of there to study with them because of their resume. You know, does that make sense what I'm saying? I feel like I'm being really, really insulting. I'm not trying to be insulting. And this is just some general things to think about, I think, when you're going to school for music. But do you admire your teacher? Do you admire their career? Do you think that their career is something that you could maybe emulate? Because that's another thing. Like, if you want to be a soloist, maybe you need to study with somebody who's done that. If you want to be a chamber musician, maybe as you progress, like when you go get your master's degree, for example, or your doctorate degree, maybe you really, like, the kind of person that you study with is going to kind of change, because your focus is going to become more streamlined, you know, as to what you really do want to do. So, you know, I would just really get to know the teacher, study with them in the summer, find them at summer festivals, take lessons with them if you can on Zoom. I mean, it's like totally opened up. The world is totally opened up. When I was in my bachelor's degree and I wanted to come meet, you know, professors, I had to fly out here and go have a lesson with them, pay for a hotel, pay for the lesson, pay for all the food, pay for the travel, all that kind of thing, and then fly back and just take time off to do that. It was just like really an exorbitant and time-consuming process. But it's so easy today. Like, start having lessons with teachers that you like. And I think that would be a wonderful way for you to network as well. Why not get to know as many teachers as you can? And also, like, viola congresses, there's like the Primrose competition. You could go to those and, you know, meet people. You could go to the Lionel Curtis International Viola Competition, which is like a lovely tiny little event on the Isle of Man, which I've been to a few times and have loved and can't wait to go back to. There's all sorts of things that you can do to meet people. I think all in all, go to a school that really wants you to be there. Take auditions for your top tier schools. Definitely do that, because I don't know if it's the case today where you actually have to go to the school to audition. But if you do, go to that school and have a lesson or two with a few different teachers there. Get a vibe of the school. Go tour the school, get a vibe of it, and then go to your maybe middle of the road schools, and then maybe go to some schools that are like below where you would really want to go, but you're still going to apply to them anyway, because actually those schools, they will probably pay you to go there. They'll probably be really glad that a really high caliber musician like you would want to go there, and so they will want you to be there. And then because you're maybe such a great player, you're going to have more opportunities at that little school as well. Just because it's a little school doesn't mean that it's not worth your while, actually, because you can, especially in your bachelor's degree, like, you can really, really benefit from going to a smaller school where you can kind of shine a little bit. Then that kind of leads into the other really important thing about school, is that You're also networking with people. You're going to be asked to do a lot of things as well because you're, you know, a bright and fabulous musician. Whereas if, let's say, you go to your highest school, your top tier school that you want to go to, and you just feel like you're a little small fry in the school, you're always kind of scrambling, you know, and you just feel like a tiny fish. That also doesn't feel very good either. If you go to a littler school where you can kind of shine, where they really want you to be there, you've got opportunities there for you, you've got people like you, you're being able to take on responsibilities in the orchestra and in your chamber music group and all of that, and maybe there's like more scholarship opportunities for you to go study in the summer. That is so much better than going to a really like expensive school where you're just feeling like a tiny little fish, you know, like a little baby bird that's just trying to hold on. So I would say audition at all sorts of tier schools. You're going to meet interesting people when you audition there, and you might find that you get in. Let's say you actually do get into that top tier school. You can tell the other schools, I've been accepted at, you know, Juilliard or whatever, but I'm intrigued by your program. I really like your school. Or you can make up something interesting, and you can say, can you offer me more money? could you possibly offer me some more scholarship? I'm interested in your program. And the school might write back to you, sure, we'll get back to you about it. And so it actually does benefit you to get into a higher tier school, you know, even if you can't afford that to go there, because then, like I said, you can tell the other schools that you applied to that you were accepted there, and you can kind of like haggle a little bit with the scholarship situation. You can also, if you have a relationship with the teacher at the school that you want to go to, the teacher can also help. They can write you a letter of recommendation. They can put in a good word for you. And it's just like you've already kind of got a leg in, which is nice. But I'm sure there's lots of things that we could kind of talk about. I don't want to ramble too much, but it's just really, really important that you take college seriously. It is about getting to know people as well, but it's really important no matter where you are in your schools, like if you're at the greatest school ever or you're at a little teeny tiny school somewhere, it's really important that you work really, really, really hard, that you do your very, very best every day, and that you practice, and that you're prepared, and that you're not late to things, that you're on time, or you're, you know, 15, 20 minutes early if you possibly can. Like, you're organized, you've got yourself together, you've got your focus, and it's going to be like a laser focus, like you're in a marathon, you're running for like 4 years and you're gonna have to stay super focused. Do not let your focus get like sidelined by people, circumstances, events, all of that kind of thing, like relationships. You're gonna have relationships, you're gonna meet people, you're gonna, you know, it's gonna be like this, but try to, at the end of the day, keep focused on what you're trying to achieve, because it's only a small amount of time that you're going to be in school. And even though it might be really, really, really hard, and you might be practicing and exhausted and tired, it's going to end at some point. It's going to be only 4 years, or it'll only be 2 years, or however many years it is for you. It's going to end. And so why not give it your all and just really, really work hard, and try to learn as much as you possibly can. Like, actually read the textbook. Read the textbook. Don't try to remember what you're learning about music history, music theory, you know, your piano classes, your chamber music classes, your orchestra classes, whatever it is that you're in. Like, try to always be as prepared and as organized as you possibly can, because that's also going to make you shine as well, because it's a difficult situation and most people are going to just kind of like do this, right? But that allows you to shoot up there and to be seen, and to really come out transformed. So after school, like I said, you're not going to be handed a job. And so when you're in school, be doing the thing that you want to do as well. Like start to put your like tentacles out into the world and start to teach your lessons, or start to put together a quartet. If you want to, you know, do performances, start to do performances. Like find some other serious musicians that you can actually work with and that you can do interesting things with. That would be awesome. And it could also be, you know, that you kind of meet musicians from other schools as well. You know, you don't have to just work with the musicians and people that you're around in your school. You can and probably will work with other people at other schools too. So anyway, I think with that, I got excited. I got excited talking to you about this. Yes, the moral of the story is, yes, you should go to college, but go to a college that actually wants you to be there, that you don't have to take out massive student loans for to be a musician. To be a musician, do not do that. Do not take out massive debt to be a musician. Don't do it. Go to a school that wants you to be there. Find a teacher that you really resonate, that you can learn from, that helps to lift you up. Study with them, get to know them, and you'll start to know, like, does this teacher really are they committed to me, like, as their student, or are they more committed to all the other things that they're doing in their life? You know, I guess that's kind of that's how to tie it with a bow. So with that, you guys, I will see you all very soon. I'm gonna finish my cup of tea, and then tomorrow I'm playing some Christmas carols because it's December. I'm gonna play some Christmas carols from my apartment complex on the harp. So I'm gonna go practice and get ready for my lessons today. So thanks for watching. Lots of love.